I think it's always important when somebody is reaching out to you, showing you the way, right? I think it's important that St. John specifically is built around a faith web concept. And so not only was it Nancy, but it was support in a variety of ways through her family, her folks, her siblings, her grandparents, but also just other kind people that reach out.
Like Patrick.
Like Patrick, or aka Pastor Scott, who I misunderstood his name for weeks. And I think through that support, the attractive part of this way of life becomes very easy to accept in terms of my experience at St. John's week over week. Fast forward, we have our first daughter, and a lot happened between that time of us dating, certainly, and having our first daughter. And I was lucky enough to get baptized the same day that Lucy got baptized. And so that was a huge change. And I think that journey, you, Pastor Scott, reaching out, making me feel comfortable. If I had questions, a variety of questions, answering them, and then also the support that we would have. You always did a really good job. I thought, now looking back, now it's such a normal way of life for us, but we would try to read on our own. And of course, it was nothing like, studying with Rick or, Community in the Word or some of the other studies we've done in small groups at people's houses. But, we tried to just read together, if you remember.
We got a children's Bible. Because I would kind of be referencing things like things that were, like, to me, simple Bible stories, like Jonah and the whale, or talking about Joseph and the coat of many colors, or things that, may have been mainstream at one point or another for something, or, to talk about Esther, and, like, just things that are just common knowledge, and he'd be like, eh? And then I would be like, well, and I could give him, like, just, like, the meat of the story, but I couldn't go into details. So then,
VeggieTales version?
Yeah, I could do VeggieTales for sure. So we would then, like, kind of talk about it. So we got a children's Bible and kind of dug into the stories that I grew up on, so that Jody would have that same knowledge and information, which made both of us dig deeper into the stories and in our faith.
I think following that time period, and I have my timeline off here a little bit, but I think another big step in terms of the understanding came from the story that we did at St. John's. And that was a way to go through the Bible in its own fashion, through video, audio, and obviously the reading support, both at home and along with worship through those weeks as we journeyed
and our
together.
small group too.
And small groups. For me, I think the turning down business on Sundays was a huge decision. We were in a situation where, we had Lucy and Juliana. Mm-hmm. We got into our first house in the Groves area, and you were working a ton. I had my work, my full-time, Monday through Friday. I had evening meetings, a little bit of weekend work, but your jobs were always weekends, and so we didn't get to see each other.
And you did the websites on Sunday.
And we would crunch numbers, do billing, invoicing, everything that goes with running a small business. Not to say there's not value to hard work, but the decision came down to we needed time together.
It came down to us biting each other's heads off and being frustrated and just being at each other because we didn't have any time together. And it would be Sunday would roll around and we both had, I might even have to go out and work, and then he would have stuff to do, and then we didn't have any family time. And it kind of, I would say, it came to a head where we were like, this isn't working. and we had to choose what it was going to be. So
I think we found peace though with it once. It's like we didn't see it and how easy of an answer it was when we were in the middle of it.
no, I remember I was doing Jane Hanley's hair. And this was, I worked on that Monday, and I specifically remember being really flustered and just very worked up about the fact that, you know, we hadn't been to church, and we really like each other. We don't argue a lot. And I remember that we had really just been extremely frustrated with each other. And I was telling her, I said, I just don't feel like we have, you know, the time together. And I was just expressing, like, I need to work, and the wedding hair is growing so much, which is fantastic, and it's becoming extreme, you know, it's going great, and Jody's building the websites, and he's doing the back end of everything. And she said, well, why don't you just take a day off? You know, and it wasn't even like this specific thing this Sunday, but it was like, why don't you take a day off? And she said, together. And I swear to you, it was like the burning bush. It was like just, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. And then I went home and I told him about it, and we both decided that God needed to do this in our marriage, and that we needed family time as well. And so Sundays made the most sense.
I think making that choice, the conscious decision to not only just not work, but to recenter ourselves back in church helped guide us.
Mm-hmm.
It always does.
Mm-hmm.
I think the other life choice that we made, and there was no like contention around it, was that we prayed together. Mm-hmm. And we did it willingly, and it was a time for you and I to connect on an intimate level, you know, praying over each other, praying over the week, praying over the children, certainly. I think praying aloud with your spouse is one of the most intimate, powerful experiences that at least we could have had as a young, fairly newly married couple. New parents too.
Yeah.
I think listening to your prayers and thoughts allowed me to enter a realm that I think people don't dive into when they are having service or, cursory, dinner table conversations. You don't get at that level. But I think in the quietness, the day's over. It's time to sleep. And we're going to ask for favor. We're going to just talk to God. I think that was a big, at least for me, in terms of my Christian development, that was huge.
And I think choosing that side of life together too. Jody's very logical, and that was part of back when we were dating, the part that was hard for him initially was that he was so logical, and I didn't have all of the logic-based facts that I now know to share with him about my faith. My faith was just a blind faith. I just believed because I believed, and God has never let us down, ever. And we have countless stories of things that have happened on the day that it needed to happen, where he has always provided for us, and we've seen him just take care of us through and through. And so I think that the praying together in the midst of, we're at a job change, or we're at a house change, or I don't know, we've got financial struggles. The two of us praying together and giving it all to God allowed both of us to watch him take control and to watch him give our family life too, because we were saying it aloud, sharing it with each other, instead of, balling it up inside and not dealing with it at all. And then we get to talk about the fact that God does provide for us and takes care of us.